What's up, everybody? Welcome to E3 2017's coverage of Days Gone. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the pure one, Tim Gettys.
Let Tim host.
Tim?
Yes.
You just came out of behind closed doors Days Gone.
Uh-huh.
You were in there a long time.
I was.
I went and saw Uncharted, did a whole thing, talked to the developers, came out, played everybody's golf, and then you were still in your demo.
Yeah, no, it was a very long demo. It was the same demo that we saw at the showcase a couple days ago, with some major differences.
Yeah.
The major difference being it was snowing. The weather was different, and it was later at night.
Okay.
And I was like, this is a really interesting thing, but that's kind of what they got going with Days Gone. Days Gone, super dynamic.
Okay.
Their whole pitch is this super dynamic everything.
Okay.
Whether it comes to the systems or the time of day and all this, and it all affects everything. So, in the demo that we saw as a PlayStation thing, he's on the bike, he comes up and he gets clotheslined by the rope, and then he goes in and walks through the hanging guys, right?
Yeah.
This was the same thing, but because it was snowing, the wolves that chased him to get on that road weren't there, because the wolves, they were cold.
Hibernating.
They're hibernating. They weren't ready for that.
Wolves don't hibernate, it's a joke. Comment everybody, don't eat me alive in the comments.
But the wolves aren't there because it's snowing.
Okay.
So that allowed him, instead of being on that road, he came on the side and he saw the rope. And so then he went up and got to kill one of the dudes, cut the rope, and just kind of go through that normally.
Smart.
But it was a totally different path.
Okay.
And this allowed the guy doing the demo to ride the bike in the open world for a bit and kind of just maneuver around. And it looks huge.
Yeah.
Like, it reminded me of Horizon. And so many people have been saying that, oh, Days Gone looks like Last of Us, with just a lot of enemies. And I think that's what last year's demo did.
Yeah.
This year's demo, especially the one I just saw, the world is super vast, super open, and seeing him traverse with the motorcycle, it really reminded me of how fun it was to just move around
to explore
in Horizon.
Okay.
So I was like, that's super cool. And there's so much surprises that would come up that it shocked me how much of a difference the snow made it for that mission.
Okay.
There was like the traps that we saw were still there. He just went a totally different way with a whole other set of ambushes and different things going on.
Okay.
So when he goes to that part where there's like the camp of all the people, he goes in, and the bear trap that we saw in this, he picked up the bear trap and moved it into a bush and then threw a rock, and the guy came and it got him. But unlike the other demo, he was trapped in the thing, but people started freaking out because he was screaming, and they're like, shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up. And he wouldn't shut up, so they shoot him in the head.
Holy shit.
It was so gory. Like, this whole demo was much more so than what they showed at the other thing. People's heads were just getting canoed left and right. When you, as the main character, go to play the part with the rope, you cut it. He stabs one of the dudes violently, like we saw. Then the other guy, he stabs him in the whatever the fuck, right there,
side,
and then uppercuts him, and he falls down. The guy's like on the ground, and he's like, "Please stop, please, please!" And it's like a little too real.
Yeah.
Where I was like, "Holy shit!" And he just fucking goes, stomps on his fucking head, and just explodes. And I was like, that was intense, really intense. But it really fed into this world.
Yeah.
The whole demo for us started in the camp, and it started with him kind of interacting with a couple NPCs and kind of building the world a bit more of the motorcycle club.
Yeah.
And I was like, instantly like, all right, cool. It gave a bit more context to who that other dude was that he rescued in the demo we saw. And I was like, all right, cool. This really makes sense, and it gave context to why the interaction they had was the way it was.
Okay.
That bear that we saw at the end, we saw a bit more of him. The bear was infected, and the wolves are infected, so anything can become a freaker.
Okay. Oh, freaker, is that what it was? I thought it was tweaker.
No, it's freakers. So they're called freakers. There's a detective mode that we saw a bit in that demo as well.
Yeah.
They used a lot more here, and it was a little bit more advanced. Talking about what I was saying with the dynamic stuff, a lot of skill trees, a lot of different things that you can kind of level up throughout the game. The detective mode in the beginning, all you kind of get is kind of the night vision looking thing.
Sure.
And eventually you can see where the tire tracks are. Then eventually when you mark people, you can see their outlines and where they're at. And it's like, as you get better, you obviously learn more and get more skills and all that. And the motorcycle's the same way.
Yeah.
The motorcycle starts off, there's your health meter, but then there's also a gas meter. So that kind of limits how far you can get in the world, but then eventually you're able to go a lot farther, a lot faster, and travel that way. But yeah, there's like so much crafting, so much skill trees. It seems like everything has a level up system.
The thing about Days Gone is, knowing Sony Bend, and obviously giving Eric Jensen so much shit all the time, I've kept my ear to the ground on it. And when it debuted last time, you know, at the last E3, they showed the trailer, and it's him on the motorcycle. I was excited about that. When they showed the freaker stuff, it was that thing of like, is that what this game is going to be? Like, I don't think so. It's not the way you guys describe it. It's not the way PlayStation describes it. And I feel like this year's demo was, and I'm talking about on stage because I didn't go behind closed doors with you, was them starting to pull back the curtain and be like, there's more happening than you think. Because I remember behind closed doors last year them talking about like, no, there's a lot of systems and the motorbike is like a character in the game.
It is a character, yeah.
Yeah, and so like what you're talking about, I really wonder if anyone has the right perception of this game yet.
I mean, I think that this year did a lot to help tell that story.
Yeah.
And I think it gave a lot of context, especially seeing the behind closed doors demo, where they're talking about the mob that we saw last year, like the big swarm. He's like, that is an example of the dynamic stuff that can happen. That can happen anywhere. Okay. That can happen when you're just traveling, going down the street or whatever, or like in the woods. There could be a mob. If that mob hears another mob, it can turn into a swarm really quick wherever you are in the game. So that was a set piece that we saw last year, but that set piece can happen anyway.
It's interesting. I honestly believe, knowing their pedigree, knowing those guys, and liking what I've seen of that game, and being a zombie guy, I really feel like Days Gone has a chance to come out and have expectations low and it really hop over it. And be a game that, it's a Horizon zombie, get in there, builds your character, builds your thing.
It really does seem that way. Like again, going back to what I was saying earlier, I think going into it, everyone says Last of Us. I think going out of it, everyone's saying Horizon. And I think that's a better place to be. But still with like the fun Last of Us storyline that Horizon also had.
Well, I mean, even the way you describe it, right, I feel like it gives you a chance, and The Last of Us did this a little, but it really gives you a shot of, do you want to go in guns blazing, or do you want to sneak around and use the freakers in a way that, like we saw in the main demo versus this one where we're canoeing skulls?
Yeah. That's a thing.
Is that a canoe?
When you canoe the head in half.
It's gross. It's a gross thing.
That's the thing.
Kevin thinks. Okay. Well, I'm gonna trust Nick Scarpino.
No, get your notes. When you take an axe and you go like this, so it splits in half. Like the canoe splits the water.
We call that the old butt romp where I'm from.
Strategic sandbox combat is what they keep.
Strategic sandbox combat.
That's their kind of marketing thing.
Last year behind closed doors, they said the same thing of like, you could wait and come back at night and you could do all these different things, blah, blah, blah.
And so that's the thing is I don't feel like I'm doing a good job of explaining that the nighttime effects, and they showed us a bit of this. The nighttime, the snow, the rain. If there's snow, it's a lot quieter, so you have to be really aware of the sound. If it's rain, you obviously don't. And this stuff, a lot of games we've seen that before, but the amount that it drastically changed the same mission that we saw blew my mind. Wow. To the point that Marty was in the demo with me, and he was just like, how are you going to balance that? Yeah. And they're like, there's so many systems at play where if this, then that, and they want to keep it fresh, and they're like, if you're playing and you can come back and in real time things will change. And so every time it's like, since it's based in the Pacific Northwest, the weather's insane there.
Yeah.
One day it'll be snowing, one day it's sunny, one day whatever. So they're like, as you're playing through, that does have story elements and it does kind of fit in, but you never know exactly what you're going to get. And I was really impressed by how fresh the experience was, even having just seen it a couple days ago.
All right. That's awesome.
It's super, super cool. I'm trying to see if there's anything else here.
Sure, yeah, cover it.
There's so much fun stuff in the world, like right off the beaten path of the same demo we saw where there's the rope on the left side instead of the right side. There was one of the bad dudes, whatever, the rival clans.
Sure.
He had a freaker chained to a tree, and he was like taunting him and giving him shit, and he was just being a fucking asshole. Like he looked like a drunk asshole.
Sure.
And then like the character says some smarky remark, pulls up behind the tree, crossbows the chain, and it goes off, and then the fucking guy like gets taken down. He's like, yeah, you fucking asshole. And it's just like, that moment was so cool. And even throughout this demo, there was like 4 or 5 times where there was just these cool little things that just built and added to. And
actually, it built this open world, right? Yeah. That doesn't make it what it looks like when people compare it to Last of Us, like it's gonna be this linear thing.
Yep. Yeah. This is not linear at all.
I can't wait to play this game.
It seems super open. I was really impressed by it. What blows my mind is Sony banned 100 people compared to a lot of the other Sony teams that they were talking about was 400 or 500 people per team.
Yeah.
And they're just like, they're firing on all cylinders for this game. They've been working on it for a long time.
I heard Eric Jensen did it all himself.
Yeah. And a good question to wrap this up. Marty asked, what's the difference between last year and this year? Like, what's changed in this game? And he's like, honestly, nothing has changed. We've been building on this. What we showed last year was just a kind of like, have people understand this is what makes our game different. Yeah. Like, you've seen zombie games before, you've seen zombie TV shows, movies, everything, but having this kind of horde, that World War Z thing, is like, we've never seen that in a game. Yeah. He's like, but what we have now is like, okay, but here's the meat, here's what the actual game is, here's the open world.
Here are the systems.
Yeah, exactly. And man, it looks great. Again, they were like, they didn't even give a date on it at all. No 2018, no fall, no spring, no anything. But they said that we're going to hear more soon.
Okay.
So Get hyped.
Get hyped. Ladies and gentlemen, we are Kind of Funny, and we are at E3. We're gonna put up a whole bunch more videos, a whole bunch of interviews, a whole bunch of Let's Plays. So don't go anywhere, click that subscribe button, keep checking back. And of course, if you ever see Kevin Coelho on the street, give him a big old hug from me. Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.